Now guys, welcome back to another Grow Your BNB video. Now in today's video, we are going to talk about what profit this landlord's made out of the month of Jan. Now, if you're looking into remote working, if you're looking to get into Airbnb hosting, this video is for you because I am going to break down the actual booking that I did, how much I've paid, potentially how much this landlord made out of this 31 nights in Jan. But yeah, it's an incredible video. I'm going to break it down through every single thing. Now I'm going to go back to the apartment where we're going to sit down, we're going to break down those figures, we're going to talk about everything that's happening in this property right now. Really exciting for you. I thought I'll come in the morning, do some work, and the idea was to start this video here. I'm going to go back to the room, I'm going to go back to the apartment, and I want to make sure that I give you guys the best figure understanding of how Dubai subleasing or owned. If you're purchasing a property and you're looking to obviously rent it as an Airbnb, this video is for you. So I paid just under £3,000 for my 14-night stay in this serviced apartment, in this Airbnb in downtown. Now obviously for me there was a couple of reasons. I wanted to come here, which is more business bay related, and kind of be close to the Burj Khalifa and all the Dubai kind of main Dubai mall and kind of stuff. Now in my last video I kind of explained obviously the reason why I choose. So if you're new to this channel, I would love you to go back and watch that video because it will make more sense on the numbers that I'm going to talk about. So there's still 17 nights left to sell in this property right now. So I'm only booked for 14 nights, being in the month of Jan. Yeah, I think landlord's got an amazing opportunity right now to sell 17 nights in the way that obviously how I've booked, obviously with a certain amount of discount on a weekly. The reality is that you'll be very surprised how much profit this landlord's going to achieve at the end of this month. Now, how does Airbnb or actually doing an Airbnb in a property works in Dubai? So firstly, you've got what you call a purchase, right? So you are probably an investor around the world, you're purchasing this property and you're buying this property to let it out as an Airbnb business. Now the second option is you purchase that property in mind to give it to a management company, or what they call in Dubai a revenue share company, and they charge maybe 20% on the revenue share. You make 80% off the actual, but you still own this property, right? So obviously you've got the first option, you purchase it and you've got the knowledge to remote work, and you know how to actually get bookings without you being here. You've got a team of cleaners and you could live anywhere in the world, still purchase this property and run it as an Airbnb. In an ideal world, you can do a revenue share where you either give it to a management client, or a lot of my clients are getting into co-hosting, where you work from different part of the world and generate three things for the Airbnb owner. One, maximize their booking. Secondly, look after all their guest communication. Thirdly, look after the cleaning management. Now, the third option is you do sub-leasing, where obviously you don't need a lot of chunk to buy this property. You lease it off a landlord with reletting purpose, so you're a renting fee. I'll go through later in the video exactly what that's going to cost, but then you rent it out as an Airbnb or a short-term rental property. So really kind of they're the three different ways that Airbnb works in Dubai right now. So now let's look at the potential breakdown of these properties here. So the first is the purchase value of this kind of property in obviously the location it is right now in Business Bay. We're looking around a 1-bedroom apartment. Now this has got 1-bedroom apartment, you've got the lounge, you've got the kitchen, it's actually got a WC and also a main bathroom attached to the bedroom, which is the ensuite. Now this works out to be about 2 million dirhams right now. Also remember, my view right now, I'm going to put some clip here, looks incredible towards the evening with the sunset. Obviously we've got a view of Burj Arab and a little bit around the palm, but just the evening going into 9 looks amazing from this apartment. Now which leads to again the cost of the property. So if you're purchasing this property, that kind of money that you're looking at. Now secondly, if you're looking at just a normal rent, if you buy this property and you rent it out, again we've done a bit of research looking at what it's going for, anywhere between 140,000 dirhams to 160,000 dirhams per year. Now that again says to you kind of the strong rental market in certain locations. Obviously there's hundreds and thousands of properties properties available right now in Dubai, but if you've got special features such as this, got a great view of the kind of the sunset with Burj Al Arab, you know, further out in the back, it's always going to attract good tenants. And that also says to you that, and if you now decide to go to purchase to maybe an Airbnb management, so you buy this property and you might not live here, but you want to come and use this property when you want, and rest of the time you want to do a revenue share with a management company. There's loads of people. I actually spoke to somebody up in the pool area and they do that. They actually own that property. Half the time they live here, half the time they live in a different country. When they're here, they use the apartment, they block it out so they know when they come in, and then when they're not here, they then give it to a revenue share company that all obviously looks after everything, gets them booking, But at the end of the day, you know, there's no kind of strict tie-in between that agreement of revenue share. So they make you 80% on the revenue, they keep 20, 25 depending, right? You take 75, but the revenue share works out to be generally about 80 to you if you own this property and 20% to the owner. And lastly, the subleasing. Now the subleasing, as you probably know, in the UK, we call it a rent to rent business. Now subleasing is just you renting out this apartment with an agreed term to rent it out as an Airbnb property. And in related to that, you're looking again, what we said earlier, you will still, the landlord knows that you're going to do Airbnb, so they probably want to push kind of rental figure. So it could be anywhere between 160,000 dirhams to 170,000 dirhams per year. Now, if you do that in pounds, you know, nearly like 40,000 pounds per year. And this is just a rental figure and, you know, a potential kind of breakdown outcome you're going to get from this exact property. So look, before we now go into the actual final breakdown of the costing and what profit, all it matters at the end of the day is not what revenue you made, because you've all got the expenses you've got to pay, the profit you're going to make. I want to say a couple of things in regards to how the service accommodation world in the UK has been so strong over the last 6 years. Obviously, I've been involved in just over 5,000 properties, Airbnb properties, consulting people in Dubai, UK, US, Canada, gone through pretty much like most of the kind of big cities around the world to be able to work on properties there, understand certain guest behavior. Today, I'm a guest in this property. My guest behavior is I'm here for 2 weeks because I want to come and work from Dubai, want to enjoy the bit of sun. So I'm out in the evening, going out for dinners. I'm in the mornings, I'm going out for a walk. Like this morning, I went to Dubai Marina, and it was like solid mindset growth, but also to see how incredible the city is and what it's got to offer. One thing I realized, and I did mention this in my last video, it depends on where you want to stay. Like I thought by staying here in Business Bay, I would enjoy a lot of going into the downtown, into Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Mall, which I do every day. I'm pretty much walking down, going down and exploring things. But then the fact that if I go to Dubai Marina or the Palm, it's taking me more than 20 minutes in car, spending an average of like £15 on taxi in the morning per trip, right? So I'm going there, coming back as well. So it's finding what you like. Now, obviously back home where I live in Sandbanks, I am literally bang on in the beach. I am literally walking down to the beach. It takes me less than a minute and I am in the beach in one of the most beautiful parts of the UK. So I think the fact that here, the subleasing and the Airbnb kind of co-hosting market, it allows you to do two things. If you're subleasing, you're obviously looking to leverage the property. Now, if you're co-hosting or you're doing management, then you know, effectively it's a remote working, as long as you've got a solid mindset on building systems, processes, and people in place, which is what I've always said about, which is what I've been doing. Like yesterday, I had 2 consulting calls with our client where we're really kind of getting their first employee who are gonna work on their business that is related to revenue generating activity. Because at the moment, this client's got over 50 units. The owner's trying to do that part of the business. And once you've started to do 50 units, you will not have time to do those minor details in the business. So again, having that understanding of when to hire, what system to put in place is important. So now guys, let's go into the final part of making profit on this property. The final exciting part of breaking down figures. Now, if you were owning it, or if this person was doing a subleasing, which is a rent-to-rent model in the UK, you will see exactly what kind of revenue either the owner is making, either if you're getting into co-hosting or management of Airbnb properties in Dubai, you will see what kind of revenue that you would have made. And lastly, if you were doing subleasing, which is rent-to-rent, you pay the landlord a guaranteed rent, and then you obviously make a certain profit at the end of the month. So as you can see from my screen, now the total revenue generated this month on this property, I reckon is about £6,500, which is 3,000 obviously I paid, 3,500 for the another 14 nights, give or take, and then obviously 3 nights of days that's not been booked. So we're now looking at about, which I reckon they've achieved that this month on this calendar. Let's look at the first part, which is if the Airbnb is owned and you do a revenue share, depending on if it's a management company who charges 20%, and then you've got your co-hosting, potentially if you're giving it to a co-hosting person, then they charge you only 10%. Now, I've already done a video on what a management company does for you and what a co-hosting company does for you. So again, if you're new to this channel, please go and check that through. But let's go into revenue share firstly. With £6,500, the revenue share between a management company and the owner, if the owner would make about £5,200 this month, right? The revenue share to the management company on 20%, so that's the 80% of the revenue. The 20% of the revenue is £1,300 for the management company. Now, I must stop there. For a unit to make £1,300 per month, obviously Dubai has quite a seasonal, I reckon I'll probably say even up to anywhere up to 8 months of solid kind of throughout the 12 months period. If you can achieve this kind of figure for £1,300, that is better than what a rent-to-rent person would actually make in UK right now on an average. So that really shows the potential of certain level of properties in Dubai. Now, if you're doing a revenue share, again, if you're the owner of this property and you're doing a revenue share with just a co-hosting person, then it's £5,850 as revenue into your pocket as the person who owns this property, and the 10%, which is on co-hosting fee, it is just £650. Again, you know, from a perspective looking at 650 on a revenue, if you're doing co-hosting, right, a lot of people come in this channel to look at opportunity. If you're doing 650 on one unit times by a couple of units, you've got really a replaced income of what you achieve generally working 9 to 5. So it's again a great opportunity of what you can achieve, and you can see what you can achieve in the market of Dubai right now. However, now obviously in our channel there's a lot of people that comes in and they watch my video because of the subleasing model in the UK that I talk about, and obviously my history of owning a estate agency business in the UK, like High Street one, then doing sales, letting, eventually getting into the Airbnb business, what we call like the service accommodation business in the UK. For subleasing, this property right now, roughly, I'm going to do it in pounds for now, it's about £35,000 per year. Again, in a hindsight, you're thinking that's a lot of money, but I really work with a lot of clients in London right now with an average looking property being charged £2,200 on a 1-bed apartment in an outskirt London, right? So this property here per month works out to be just on the rent about £2,917. So again, you can see from my screen that as much as it shows that how expensive that is, and obviously you've got to also think about the low season and the high season, which I'm going to make a completely new video about this. So if you're watching this, and again, if you enjoy this, please do make sure you hit that subscribe, because this video has a lot of series that I'm doing, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understand every aspect of owning or renting a property for Airbnb. So let's go back into the figures. Now, utilities wise, you've got obviously gas, electric, water, Wi-Fi, and there's obviously other charges now in UK with, if you live in a property like this, you've got service charges and all that kind of stuff. So all in all, I mean, a lot of money. It's £1,000 I've put in. So 2,917 is the actual rent, £1,000 in all expenses of the property. The cleaning fee, which is a variable rate, it's, for me, it's like quite funny, because when somebody charges £17 on a property like this on a turnover, back in the UK, we're paying anywhere between £65 to £70 for a turnover. So again, that shows the work labor cost on certain things a lot cheaper. As a result of that, you also get somebody a great experience, because I said to my Airbnb host, hey, would you mind giving me a midweek clean? And he was like, oh, there's an extra cost in it. And I said, okay, what would you like me to charge with X amount of towels and a clean? And he said about 135 dirhams. And I was like, that's £17. Like, it came to about £30 or whatever that was. For me, it was like, oh, great. Like, I don't have to pay another 100 quid out of my pocket just to do a clean turned over. So that's, again, a solid thing about Dubai, with the manpower, the power people, the power team that you can build. Effectively, even if this person's got, give or take, 5 cleans, including 2 of mine and 3 of the others, it works out to be about 85 on the cost. So all in all, right now, the expenses is sitting around £4,000. Now, remember guys, what I've done is the rent, the actual bills, I've really kind of boosted it. Don't think it'll be anywhere up to £1,000 a month, but that kind of gives you an indication of what basically is the cost at the moment. So 4002 is the total expenses. Now, the only other thing that we've got left to work out is going to be the commission on the total revenue, because obviously there's a revenue, they might make a direct booking, but looking at the Dubai market and the kind of the mindset of the host, a lot of operators really still are not leveraging direct bookings. They're not really putting systems in place for direct bookings, because I understand there's a lot of people coming from all over the world. You want to protect your property. Obviously Airbnb's got Airbnb cover, but at the end of the day, that Airbnb cover at the moment, in the risk factor like me for 2 weeks coming here and staying, I'd love to have this person book direct, because he would have potentially made more money and I would have probably got another couple of percentage discounts. But again, because the mindset's not there, I think it's quite difficult for people to understand that. So if you're again starting a co-hosting business or a management business, that's where you want to come in with a strong systems in place, people qualifying leads to make sure that those direct bookings are not a problem guest. They're going to come and stay. They're going to, they are going to look after the property and make sure that when they check out, the property is as normal. So the last part of £6,500, so as you can see from my screen, if we take away the commission that this person is going to pay, now I'm going to average it around 18%, which generally, again, with Airbnb, you've got the kind of fee of 15% plus VAT. That's another £1,170 paid on commission, which is quite important for, again, you guys to look into. It's worth going into that minor details. So all in all, now you've got 4002, which is 4,200 for your total expenses on that property, and then you've got all the bookings come through the online travel agent. Your total revenue on that property, or expenses on that property, would about to be £5,172. So now if we look at what the property made on revenue versus what the property is now going to make on profit, it works out roughly to be £1,300.28 after taking all these expenses. So now that says to you about what it's like doing a rent-to-rent business or a subleasing business in this specific property. Now remember, again, yes, I might have gone a little bit too much on the £1,000 on the bills and stuff, but even if you take £500 down there, you're looking anywhere between £1,300 to probably anywhere up to £1,800 on net profit on this property. So guys, I hope this makes sense. I hope the number has been broken down to the detail that I wanted to show you on this exact property, but also give you an understanding of, if you ever wanted to do that exact business model here in Dubai, you need to understand all this figure. You need to understand how what I call the profit pricing works, so that you know what season, what you're going to expect. Obviously that 4 months that maybe you're not going to do well, is it worth just focusing on break even, and then the 8 months of making solid profit? But this is the revenue interest I want to show you in this video. Well, look, I've had a fantastic, this is only day 5 for me right now here in Dubai. I've got a couple of more days here, actually more than a week. So the idea is I sit here, spend a lot of time building my systems, processes with my team for grow your BNB and automate your BNB. In the mornings, I generally go for a walk in a completely different new neighborhood. I want to see the area. I want to understand how people live, work, and all that kind of stuff. And also in the evenings, I generally, either sit down here, chill, watch a telly, or I'll go for a walk, because again, being in downtown and you want to go to a Dubai Mall, it's so easy to just walk down. But this is the whole process of being able to relocate myself into different countries and be able to still work. It's an incredible place to be, knowing 15 years ago I moved from Nepal to the UK, and that was like my first dream of actually finding, oh my god, like there's so much opportunity in that country. Now looking at Dubai, there's so many incredible opportunities right now here, and the fact that I've been able to showcase you what it looks like staying in this property just for 14 nights. I knew for me it was important to show, at the end of the day, this landlord is probably how much money they're making on this property as a revenue share is incredible. But the same thing if somebody's looking to get that subleasing done, which I've worked with numbers of times in Dubai. I think we've worked with over 200, 300 properties. My client had a block of 100. So all of this, actually looking into how we work, it's an incredible place to be, to showcase you the actual knowledge that we've gone through in the past working for a client, now actually sitting on an Airbnb and paying Airbnb hosts some in to be able to showcase you what they will make at the end of the month as well. So guys, look, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share, and I'll be back with another video soon.